everyone, this is Marika and I welcome you all to this new session of Community Health Nursing with me. In our previous sessions, we have discussed about food hygiene and we also discussed about food preparation. In this session today, we are going to discuss a very simple and a very interesting topic, which is food purchasing and food consumption. Before we move on to today's topic, let us quickly recall what food hygiene is. We've already seen that food hygiene is a process of maintaining hygienic measures, which is from the time of processing of the food until it is served to the customer. So food hygiene includes maintaining proper sanitation while the food is being produced, while it is being processed, while it is being packed, transported and distributed until it is served to the customers. In this entire process of food processing until it is served to the customer, sanitation has to be maintained in order to ensure that the food remains fit for human consumption. While we prepare the food as well, we've seen in our previous sessions that food hygiene is important. The maintenance of hygiene by the person who's cooking the food, the maintenance of the hygiene of the food products that are used for preparation is also important. Similarly, another important factor is food preparation and food consumption. Now, maintaining hygienic measures during the preparation of the food and purchasing as well as consumption of the food is equally important to maintain the health of an individual. When we purchase the food, we as customers or consumers must be aware about what kind of food are we consuming and whether the food that we are consuming is fit for our health or not. Therefore, when we purchase the food, we need to make sure that the food we have purchased is not spoiled and it is fit for human consumption. Obviously, if we purchase and consume the food product that is spoiled, it causes harm to the health of an individual. There are certain principles that are to be followed while the food product is being purchased. As consumers or as customers, we are to be responsible and to consume the food that is fit for human consumption. Few things are to be kept on mind while purchasing food products. Do not purchase the food from which there is a bad odor. So obviously, if the food product is not having a pleasant odor, if there's a bad odor, then it is obvious that the food product may be spoiled. Therefore, we must avoid purchasing such kind of food products. The second one is to look for the expiry date of the food products. For every food product that is packed, expiry date will be written on the back of the product. Therefore, as a responsible consumer, we must look for the expiry date and we must not purchase the food products that has outdated packaging. Obviously, if there's outdated packaging, it is obvious that the food has been processed a long time before and has been kept like that. Therefore, we must make sure that we look after the expiry date as well as we do not purchase the food products that have outdated packaging. Whenever we purchase any kind of food products, we must ensure that there are proper labeling on the food products, because proper labeling of the food products includes the list of ingredients that are used in the food products. So we have to know what kind of food products are we consuming, what are the different ingredients that are used in the food products. Therefore, always purchase the food products that has proper labeling with the ingredients mentioned in it. When we purchase any kind of food product that has a label, keep in the refrigerator. We must ensure that when we are purchasing as well, the product has been kept in the refrigerator and it is cold to touch. Any product that is to be kept refrigerated in the stores must also be in the refrigerator when we purchase it. It is not about us purchasing and refrigerating it later. In the stores as well, from which we are purchasing the products which shows keep in the refrigerator, we must ensure that the products are kept in the refrigerator and it is cold to touch when we are purchasing the product. Nowadays, canned foods are available. Many of the foods are found in cans. Therefore, when we purchase any kind of food products which are found in cans or tins, we must see that the cans are not leaking and it is free from any kind of dents or cracks. So it is obvious if there is a dent, a crack or any kind of leakage with bulging lid of the can be seen. It is obvious that the food products inside may be spoiled, it may be contaminated. Therefore, we must avoid purchasing such kind of canned food products. When we purchase any food products that is found in the container, again for the container as well, we have to look for any kind of hole, any kind of cracks to ensure that the container is properly sealed and not open. opened. Again, if it is found to have any kind of holes or cracks, it is obvious that it may be contaminated. Therefore, we must avoid purchasing the containers that have any kind of holes, cracks, or tears in them. If we are not aware about how the food product has been harvested or how it has been packed, where it has been packed, then it is good to avoid such kind of food products, especially the raw food. When we purchase raw food products, we must be aware where the food products are harvested and packed. If we are not aware about where it is harvested or where it is packed, it is good actually to avoid such kind of raw food products. When we purchase eggs, we must make sure that there are no cracks on the shells of the egg. When we discussed about egg hygiene, we've already seen that the shell of the egg may be contaminated with the fecal matter of the hens. If the cells are cracked, then it is obvious that the organisms from the outside may slowly move inside the content of the egg that is consumed by the people. Therefore, if cracks can be seen in the eggs, it must be avoided. Many of the food products that we consume, we purchase it from outside, and there are food handlers involved, especially the raw kind of food that we purchase, which may include the meat, poultry, eggs, fruits and vegetables. We must make sure that the food handler also maintains their hygiene. They are clean, and we must always look for a person who is clean with tidy clothes as well as restricted hairs. Always avoid purchasing of half-cut fruits and vegetables or any kind of food products, and also unwrapped food products. So many of the time, especially when we purchase fruits and vegetables, we see that fruits are usually cut into halves and it is shown to people that it is fresh or it is good. So those kind of food products must be avoided. We must not purchase such kind of food products because there is a chance of contamination. Also, unwrapped food products must be avoided. Another thing to remember as a person who purchased the product is to avoid purchasing perishable items that are kept in room temperature for a longer period of time. Now, what does the term perishable means? Perishable items are those items that get spoiled relatively in a short period of time, which may include the meat, vegetables, fruits, dairy products, etc. We have to avoid purchasing such kind of food products which are kept in the room temperature for a longer period of time. Also, check for any adult trends in the food products and avoid purchasing adulterated food products. The next thing is to check for any kind of food additive in the container of the food product, in the packaging of the food product. We should see if there are any kind of food additives that are used, and always go for natural and good quality food products. That is it for food purchasing. We as customers or consumers must also be responsible and follow all the guidelines we just discussed while we are purchasing the food, because if we purchase spoiled food, we will consume the spoiled food, which will deteriorate our health. So in order to maintain our health, we should also be responsible and look for all of the guidelines that we have just discussed in order to make sure that we purchase good quality food products that will not harm the health of an individual. Moving on, let us discuss about food consumption. The entire process of processing the food, producing the food, transporting, distribution, and preparation of the food is actually for one single purpose, which is consumption of the food by the individual to maintain their energy and to function healthy in their day-to-day life. Food consumption is also important, and how we consume our food, what hygienic ways we follow to consume the food is also important. The food consumption by people should be safe and wholesome. That means the entire process of producing the food, the preparation of the food, the cooking of the food must be done in a hygienic manner. Everything must follow a particular standard in order to make sure that the food is fit for human consumption. When the food product is processed, prepared properly in a hygienic manner, when it is handled in a hygienic manner, then the food remains healthy, and when consumed provides energy that is required by the individual and also helps to lead a healthy life. When the food products are handled in proper way, maintaining proper hygiene, then it also prevents various foodborne illnesses. Now, let us try to understand what are the things that are to be remembered under food consumption. Never ever consume rotten fruits and vegetables, rotten food products, or the food products that have a changed texture, color, or appearance. When we consume food, the food must be properly inspected before consumption. Rotten foods or the food products that have changed its color, texture must be avoided. The second thing is to make sure that the consumers or the person who consumes the food products wash their hands thoroughly before and after eating the food. We should not sneeze over the eating food or nearby the eating food. If the person feels like sneezing or coughing, the person must always put away their face before they sneeze or cough while having the food. Do not consume the food products that are left uncovered for a longer period of time or which is half cut or cut into several pieces. The sanitation of places where people consume their food must have minimum standards that are prescribed for restaurant and eating houses in 1955 by Model Public Act. So we've discussed in our previous sessions where we discussed about food handling. We've seen that in the year 1955, under Model Public Act, certain standards are given for the restaurants and eating places which is to be maintained, certain standards which are to be followed by restaurants and eating places. So every eating place or restaurant must make sure that those standards are followed in eating houses. The eating areas or the restaurants must not be located near manure pits, open dumping, or near open drainage systems. So the eating areas or the restaurant where the food are being served to people, that too for a large number of people, we must ensure that they are away from open dumping, open drainage, or manure pits. The floor of the eating places must be higher than the adjoining lands. So the eating places must not be equal to the adjoining lands, but it must be higher to the adjoining lands. The materials that are used in the areas of the eating places, such as the floor and the walls, must be at least 3 feet above the ground, and it must be made up of impervious materials so that it is easy to clean. The lighting and ventilation in the eating areas must be adequate. The eating place for one person should not be less than 100 square feet. The kitchen of the restaurant or the eating places must have minimum of 60 square feet area and proper ventilation. The doors and the windows of the kitchen or the eating places must be rat and fly proof. That means no insects or rat should be able to enter inside the kitchen. The floor of the kitchen must be non-slippery and it must always be made up of impervious materials so that it becomes easier to clean the surface of the kitchen and the entire eating areas. The storage facilities for storing the food products, that is cooked food products and uncooked food products, must be properly managed. It must be kept properly. The uncooked food must be stored separately from the cooked food products. The temperature that is required for storing the uncooked food products and cooked food products also must be maintained in an appropriate manner. The storage room also must be easy to clean and it must be insect and rat proof. The water supply in the restaurants must be continuous and adequate. Eating places must have enough facilities for cleaning and disinfecting. The utensils that are used must be cleaned properly with hot water and must be disinfected. And finally, the furniture of the eating place must be clean and the furniture must be kept clean and dry. That is it for today's session. In this session today, we have discussed a very simple and a very short topic, which is food purchase and food consumption, in which we've seen how as consumers we have to be responsible and what are the various things that we must look for while we purchase the food. We also discussed about food consumption, where we've seen what kind of food is to be consumed and what are the ways through which food can be maintained in a hygienic manner and can be called fit for consumption. We also discussed about how eating areas must maintain their cleanliness and what are the standards that they must follow. So to summarize, today we have discussed a very simple and a short topic, which is food purchasing and food consumption, under which we have seen what are the things that we should be responsible for, what are the things that we should look for while we purchase the food, and what are the various things to look for while we consume the food product in order to maintain a good life. I hope the class was helpful and I'll see you all in the next session. Thank you and have a great day ahead.